Hello everyone, in this tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to master the art of Edit the Slide Master. I probably, like you, was terrified of using Edit the Slide Master, and now that I have finally figured out how to perfect it, I absolutely love it, and I'm going to show you why you definitely want to use it whenever you're creating slides for digital content that students are using. So during COVID, there might be a lot of you guys that are designing digital lessons that students are using on a daily basis. And one of the frustrations that you're probably having is, darn it, the kids are deleting content, they're getting rid of items that I do not want. If you want to have certain items locked down, then Edit the Slide Master is your solution. Now, in the beginning, before I was mastering this concept, I was using the tactic of I'll just save my slide as a JPEG and I'll insert it as a background, and then that will be what I want it to be, so that way they don't delete any content. Here's the reason why that you don't want to use that method. Every time that you are downloading it and reinserting it as your background, you're losing your pixelation. And so in other words, it's not going to be as high of quality. Once you learn how to edit the Slide Master, you're going to have the same quality, crisp, clear photos, animations, and so on, and it's definitely going to be a game changer for you. So let's get started. Now, this is typically how I do it. I like to have one slide deck open that is my creation, and then I like to have a blank slide deck so that way as I get ready to add things into a master, then I'm going to copy and then paste it into another one. So it's almost like I have two versions of a presentation, if that makes sense. So one of the first things I'm going to do on here is I'm going to delete off what I have on this blank slide. And I'm also going to use Control D, and I'm going to add a couple of blank slides onto here. Now, if you're not familiar where Edit the Master is, inside of Google Slides, if I go into the view, this is where you see the option that it says Master. When I go into Master, this is where every time that you type in slides.new or you're starting a new Google Slides presentation, that's the reason why that you see it pop up with that typical, option where it says, hey, click to add title and so on. And 9 times out of 10, people will then go in and delete those boxes. Well, if you go into Edit the Slide Master, this is where you can modify what you see here. Okay? So what I like to do first is I like to come in and delete a lot of these options, because the one that I prefer is the blank. So the blank slide. And in just a few moments, you're going to see how this works. Now, it usually has me keep this very first one, and that's fine with me, but we're going to focus on this blank slide. All right, so stick with me here. I'm switching back to the presentation where I have all of these animations. On slide 2 here, I'm just going to give you an example. Let's say I'm planning some content. I'm asking students to explore a video, and then they're going to type out some responses. So on here, if I start off by selecting one image, then I'm going to come over to Edit, and I'm going to hit Select All. So now it has captured my background, everything that is on this slide. I'm going to glide over here and right click, and I'm going to select Copy. Okay, now stick with me. I'm going to come back over to my other presentation where I have the master open, and I'm simply going to right click and hit Paste. Okay, now I have added all of these items in here. Okay, now so far you're probably like, okay, I don't get it because now it's in the master but it's not actually on the slides. All right, so stick with me here. So when I close this out, these look like just regular blank slides, right? So I'm going to come up here to slide 2, and when I do a right click, I'm going to see the option Apply Layout. Okay, so over here, when I go to Apply Layout, this is accessing that master. So now that I've turned this into a master slide, notice I can't click on anything. So in other words, I can't delete anything. Now there are certain exceptions to this because like I said, hey, you want them to watch the video, right? So after I get all of the items that I want locked down, I come back over to this creation slide and I'm simply just going to pick that video, select copy, and then I'm going to paste. So now they've got the option to watch the video on here, and I can come in and add any interactive components that I want the students to actually be able to access. So if I want them to be able to type there, then now they've got a preset text box. But they're not deleting content or instructions that I definitely want the student to see. So I'm going to practice that again because I know just doing it one time is probably not enough for you. First of all, I'm going to go into that view and master again. And one thing that I'm going to do is I like to use Control D, and it's going to add a second slide. And I wanted it to be another blank slide. So I'm going to come on here and hit Edit, Select All. So now I'm back to this blank. And while I have it blank, as I'm adding more master slides, I like to come in here and hit Control D. So that way I've got plenty of blank slides that I can add my content to for additional layouts, okay? So I wanted to demonstrate, let's take this cover, because I've got images, but I also have animations. Now I originally thought that when I used Edit the Slide Master, I didn't think that the animated GIFs would come through in the master, but I want to demonstrate that yeah, they do. And that rocked my world because that means that if I have an animation, then I can lock it down and the students cannot delete it either. So again, I'm going to select one item, typically an image. Now I'm going to come over to Edit and select all. So now it's got everything selected here. I'm going to right click copy. Now I'm going to come back to this master version. Remember, it's a different presentation, and I'm going to paste. And notice how you still see the animation here. Okay, so I've got it in my master area. I'm going to X out of this, and I'm going to come back to this first slide. And you know what? I want to add that sequence in there. So remember, at this point, you go to Apply Layout. So I'm going to go to Apply Layout, and now you see it as an option, and bam, there it is. And what do you know? Nobody can delete anything that they don't want off of there. All right? So hopefully this has given you like an aha, a wow moment so that you understand how Edit the Slide Master can be a complete game changer when you're designing digital content.